Hey there, we're back, Art with Miss Therese, and I do have it plugged in. I'm really trying to be more careful about this and making sure it's plugged in so that when I go to sharpen my pencil, it actually works. And like I say, I love this pencil sharpener. We're going to be working on something that we've done a little bit before, and since we're doing a new series of videos, hopefully it will turn out a little more, a little better. So I'm not going to tell you what we're going to draw, but I'm going to start drawing it, and I know there are some of you that will already know what this is, and it's sometimes kind of fun to draw something and you're not sure what it's going to be, and then it turns into something really fun. We're going to do it in pencil, and then we're going to do it in oil pastels or color crayons. So, you know what, before I forget, I'm going to put my initials down here, and I'm just putting the year right now, 2020, gosh, which is almost over. This one, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do a border on this just because it's going to be a little bit more of a drawing. And again, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do yet. I'm going to see if you guys can figure that out. Remember, I can keep a fairly steady line using the heel of my hand and just pulling the pencil towards me. And like we've talked about in other videos, I really kind of like to move my paper around. And look, it's not perfectly straight, and that's absolutely fine. That really doesn't matter. So here's how we're going to start. I'm going to do, and like I say, some of you will know this, I'm going to do a bump here, and then I'm going to do a line like this. I'm kind of pretty much in the middle of my paper, and then I'm going to do another bump there. And again, if I'm going too fast, all you have to do is stop the video and draw, and then you can turn it back on again, or you could watch the whole thing and then watch it again and draw along. Either way. Now, below this bump here, I'm going to put a circle, and below this bump here, I'm going to put a circle, a little bit bigger one, I think, here. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to this point here, and I'm going to do a big curved line all the way to my edge, there. And you'll notice that I'm kind of going over my lines. You don't have to do that. You could do a sketchy line, you could do a single line, and sometimes I'll do that, but today this is kind of the way I sort of feel like working. Now I'm going to put another bump over this, and I'm going to put another bump over this. Okay? I'm going to go back to the end of this bump here, and I'm going to come out a little ways like that, and I'm going to do a curved line so I'm right underneath this circle. I'm kind of in the middle of the circle there. I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to change that line, and I'm going to bring that kind of almost directly underneath this circle here. This is just approximate. You do it how you want to do it, but this first time, if you kind of follow along with what I'm doing, you might get a pretty good result. And then the next time you do this, some of you might know what this is already. The next time you do this, you may have your own way to do it. Now, I've got this kind of curve down here, and we'll talk about that in just a minute on why. And then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to follow this line here, but I'm going to kind of widen away from it like that. Okay? And I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn it up this way. So now I'm kind of underneath this circle here. And then I'm going to bring a line. I'm going to start underneath the middle of the circle there. And I'm going to bring out a line like that. Okay? And again, if this gets a little complicated, just watch it the first time. I think some of you might be figuring this out. Then I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to start right there, and I'm just going to kind of follow along with this line till I get there, and then I'm going to do, I think some of you guys might know what this is already. I'm going to do a curved, kind of a curved line like there. And then underneath that, I'm going to do a line like this. Okay? And some of you might have figured this out. It's dragging. Now, the reason I put the line here is that head is pretty heavy, and this is a pretty thick neck. So I'm just kind of indicating that that's a fairly muscular neck to hold this up. Now, I'm going to do a little pupil there, okay? and then a little pupil right there. I did another little curved line here and a pupil right there. Here's something that's kind of interesting. The smaller you make the pupil, the more fierce you're going to make your dragon. If you do a great big one, the dragon's going to kind of look like a puppy. You could do a big one too if you wanted. Now I'm going to add those scales that are kind of like fins that dragons have. Well, actually, you know what? I've never seen a dragon. I've seen pictures of dragons. I kind of like to think that they're real, but who knows? And again, my dragon's kind of coming up out of the bottom corner of the page like this. And let's see, my dragon's going to need some teeth. So you can do some sort of pointy teeth. Because dragons, I think, are pretty, like I said, fierce, and they bite things. I might even have the corner of the tooth there, like that. And here's another little trick. If I add a line underneath this bump here, but over the eye like that, and kind of darken that, same with this one here. See, it's going to make him look a little bit fiercer or meaner. Now, you don't have to. You can have your dragon be a very sweet dragon, but my dragon's he's going to be fierce today. So, I might even have some bags under his eyes. He might have been up all night, breathing fire and smoke. Speaking of smoke, I'm going to take my pencil like we've done before, and instead of holding it like this, which you could do, I'm going to hold it like this. So I'm going to use the flat of my pencil here and get a different effect. And I'm going to do some serious dragon smoke. I'm going to make it darker as it comes right out of the nostril, and then it's going to get lighter, lighter and lighter as it dissipates or into the air. Okay, same here. It's going to be kind of dark in here. It's pretty smoky. So there, and then I'm going to take my finger, and I can kind of blend it a little bit, sort of rub it in, make it look a little bit smokier. And then the reason I have this curve coming down here is because sort of like his mouth is turned down kind of into a dragon frown, and he's going to be breathing a little bit of fire. So I'm going to do a little shape like this. I'm going to have that fire leaving the page. You could even, if you wanted, you could have some of that fire leaving the page and coming out of the frame like that. Kind of adds sort of a little, like kind of a three-dimensional thing to it. So that's kind of my basic dragon. And I can practice doing this. I can add some things to it here. I can maybe make it a little bit darker. And again, I'm just sort of filling in using kind of scribbly lines. And maybe defining those teeth a little bit more. But again, you don't have to do that. I'm going to have it be a little bit lighter as it gets towards the front of his mouth. Now, you could put eyelashes on it, and it could turn into a girl dragon. And I think this is a pretty fierce guy dragon. Who knows? You're the artist. You decide what you want your dragon to be. I'm going to add a little bit more here. Have that kind of coming down there. That's my puppy who's kind of complaining. And then I'm going to add a little more darkness kind of underneath, like bags underneath his eyes, like that. That's going to be my basic dragon shape. And again, we just started out, remember we started out with a bump. We did kind of a curved line like that. And then we did a bump there. And from there, it just kind of let us go ahead and finish drawing the rest of the dragon. If you want, you could stop right here, practice drawing a few more dragons. You might decide to have your dragon's face be shorter, your dragon's face could be longer. I might add a little bit of a line like that. I might shade in here, that flame, like that. So that's just a black and white dragon that we've done with a pencil, and now we're going to do it in oil pastel, if you want. And I kind of want to. So I'm going to use my pencil sketch or study. I guess that's the technical thing. You could call this a study. To do my dragon in color with oil pastels. Again, if you don't have oil pastels, you could keep this and you could color this in. And we're going to do this at the end of this lesson. So again, this is what I'm going to use to kind of help me redraw this. I'm again using white oil pastels because I like, if I make a line that I don't like, I can go over it and then eventually color over with an oil pastel with the colors, and you won't see it. I'm doing a border here, like we always do. And you could use a ruler, you could do a wiggly border, or guess what? You don't even need to have a border at all. Oh, and one thing which I'm always forgetting, I'm gonna go ahead and put my name on the back. I am so bad about remembering to put names on things. All right, that way if I lose it, somebody will find it and bring it to me, right? Okay, so like we did before, we're gonna do a bump and kind of a curved line there and then another bump. So you can press hard or light. I'm just gonna do mine a little bit light, because I'm gonna go back over it. So there's my bump. Remember, that's gonna turn into an eye. There is my curve for the snout. There's a bump for then my nostril, and then, or the dragon's nostril, not my nostril. Right below that, circle, and then above that another bump, and then below this, a circle, and a bump over that, and then bump out that curve like that. Because remember, when we were doing this, you got one eyeball there and you got the other eyeball there. This is kind of a fun sort of way we're looking at the dragon. It's almost like we're standing above the dragon a little bit, so you have kind of a different point of view. And it's always fun to kind of change those when you're drawing things, because you can learn a lot about how things look different from different directions. Now I'm going to go back up here to where I started the first bump, and I'm going to do that curve that we did, and that's going to come all the way to the edge right there. And I'm kind of going over it, which is fine. I'm going to come back to this bump here, and I'm going to start here at this point. I'm going to pull it out, come down, and once I'm right underneath this circle here, I'm going to bring it back, and when I get below the eyebrow, or excuse me, the eyeball, I'm going to kind of turn that curve down. You don't have to do that. If you want a friendly dragon, you could have the curve going up. Oops, I think I just bumped the camera. Sorry, Luke. And then I'm going to start here again. I'm going to come back and turn it in like about there, like we've done before on this one. You can kind of see where we're going. And I'm going to bring out that dragon's tongue of fire, and I'm going to add those little pieces of fire which are coming out. Like I said, I might even add one almost coming out of the page just for fun. And then I'm going to come underneath. I'm going to start here. I'm going to come kind of underneath, and when I get up to this point here, I'm going to do that cheek. So we've got kind of a cheek, and there's the jaw. And then right underneath that dragon's going to have kind of a big thick neck, because that head weighs a lot. I'm going to add my little muscle line there. Come up here, add those dragon scales, those pointing ones that kind of are growing out of their neck. And again, my dragon's kind of coming up from this corner here. So let's see. Oh my gosh, the teeth. So this is where the white comes in. This way I'm going to fill my teeth in here, but you could make your teeth any color you wanted. My dragon, and what you're also going to have fun doing is you can make your dragon any color you want. I'm going to add another little tooth there, just a corner of a tooth, and a tooth here. Now, this is not as sharp as this drawing. This drawing's a little bit more sharp because a pencil is a different material that you're using, so you have a little bit more of an ability to control that line. Here, the oil pastels, it's just going to have a different sort of feel to it, but it's going to be kind of fun. Now I'm also going to color my eyeballs in white. You could color your eyeballs in red. I would put white underneath it first though. I always like putting white underneath colors on dark paper because it really lifts that color and kind of brightens it. So there's my two eyeballs with no pupil. Oh my gosh. And let's see, did I forget anything? I don't think I've forgotten anything. We're not going to do the smoke until the very end with this one. So let's see what kind of a dragon color we might want. And we're going to start coloring the dragon. I think I'm going to make my dragon blue, but you could make your dragon any color you wanted. Remember, if you're using a lighter color, you are probably going to want to for sure have that white underneath it. And then when we go back here, when we look at this one here, this is again our reference, which we can use. And again, like I said, at the end of this, we're going to color this in with crayon in case you don't have oil pastels. Or one other thing, you could just leave it black and white. That's fine too. Okay, so now I'm going to start coloring here. And as you know, like we've done this before, I just sort of start filling it in. You may have your own way of doing it. I've seen some students break their oil pastel, which is fine, peel it, and then just use the side of it to completely fill things in. But this is kind of how I'm feeling like doing it today. And I'm just going to add my first layer in, like this. Finishing up that first layer of color, I'm thinking that I'm going to probably add another layer. Laid my basic dragon color in, and again, you choose whatever color you would like to make that dragon. I think also what I need to do too is I need to put those little eyeballs in. And remember we talked about if that pupil is tiny, that dragon is going to look a little bit fiercer. I don't know what he looks like right now. It kind of looks a little crazy, but that's all right. And then what we've done before is I'm going to find a darker blue here. You could use any dark color if you wanted. And I'm going to make that dragon look a little fiercer. When you add kind of a line like this sort of above the eye, you're going to intensify. I'm going to also go over the white here for that little line that indicates that it's got a strong neck, it's kind of like a neck muscle definition. And I'm going to, maybe here, over this again with white, like this. And then what I might do is just kind of touch that oil pastel there and blend that like that. And sort of touch the oil pastel there and kind of blend it. You could just sort of, at this point, just kind of experiment. I'm kind of really enjoying blending. I'm going to add a little darkness here, kind of underneath his jaw. That'll kind of give him a little bit of depth like that. And I think I'll also, and you'll notice that sometimes other colors get on my fingers when I'm doing this, which is perfectly all right. I want to make him look a little bit fiercer there. So I'm going to darken that just like that. And then underneath his eyes, I'm going to come back to that black. I'm going to outline his eye with a little bit of black like that. And then kind of blend that sort of down, like I say, like he's been up all night breathing fire. And then maybe, again, I'm just kind of playing around with this a little bit. And let's see, I'll come back over here, add that white there, and maybe define that a little bit more like this, and blend it like that. I'm going to come down here and do the same thing over the nostril. I'm going to hold off on doing the smoke until we're kind of like all done. And your dragon, it's the same dragon, okay, just a different look. And let's see, I think probably inside his mouth, I'm just going to go a little bit darker, like this. You could do purple, anything you want. And again, like I say, his teeth don't have to be white at all. And I'm just blending this like this. I'll probably come back in and go over his teeth again. But again, like I say, you're going to have a different effect. Your technique with oil pastels may be a little bit different than mine too. And then I'm going to kind of fade that black to be a little bit less as I get towards, sort of to get towards the front of his mouth. I'm going to come back in with that blue outline, like this. Sort of follow it like this. And again, I'm just showing you how I'm doing it, but you may find a way to do your dragon which you like better. And you know, oil pastels, a lot of people think oil pastels are messy, and yeah, they can be messy. Just try to remember, keep them off the floor, because if you step on them, it can be sort of a mess. But they're really fun. And like anything else, if you take good care of your tools, because that's what these are, whether it's a pencil, oil pastel, or watercolors, they're all tools. And if you take care of them and are careful, they're going to last a really long time. Occasionally a mess will happen, and that's just fine. I make messes all the time. Ask my kids. So what am I going to do for, I think I'm going to color those scales in, and I think in the interest of just some fun, I'm going to do those scales. I'm looking for a moss green here. Okay, I found my green, and this gives me an opportunity to show you guys that when your oil pastels kind of get down a little bit, all you have to do is just peel them. And a little more oil pastel will show up. If you have a little brother or sister, it's a job you can give them. I think sometimes little kids really like peeling things, and with their little fingers, and so they can peel your oil pastels for you, and you could also show them how to use them. My kids, and actually I was this way too, they actually were drawing before they talked. And I still have, maybe one day we'll take a video of it, I still have a few things that are left on walls and doors that my kids did when they were really little. And initially I'm going, oh my gosh, what a mess. And now that everybody's older and grown up, it's kind of like a little treasure that you sort of keep. All right, wow. I think, okay, now here's another trick. I'm going to tip the end of that with that dark blue to kind of give those, maybe down here too, to kind of give this a little bit of depth, like that. All right. And if I want to make the scales a little bit shiny, I could add just like a little bit of white, like that. Okay, so I think he's kind of coming together. You could also do his eyes bloodshot. Let's see, the nostril. I thought I had some pink. No, you know what? I think inside that nostril, I'm going to have the inside of that nostril be, it's going to be a little bit darker. It's going to be kind of dark like that. Okay. I'll go like that. And then we're going to do some other things with that there too. I'm going to kind of go around this one here. And again, I don't have to make those lines complete. I'm just adding little touches of it just to kind of keep things a little bit sort of interesting. And again, we're just kind of building our dragon. Now, I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to color this all in white like this, okay? Because I'm going to add some yellow and orange. And with this darker paper, that yellow or orange really needs to have the white in the back to show up. Now, oh, and look, I remember to bring my brush with me. But if you don't have a brush, you can just use your hands. So we've kind of got that going on there. I'm going to take kind of a yellowish here, and you see that look? Mm-hmm. Kind of come in like this. All right. And if I did this again, what I would do is I would make my border a little bit bigger, or at least maybe a little bit bigger on this side, and so you could really see the flames sort of shooting out of the picture. I think it's kind of fun to sort of play with some of your ideas, and just because you have a frame, sometimes if you have something coming out, it can make it kind of fun. I'm going to add a little darker orange here, sort of tip the ends of that fire. I like to think it looks like fire. But I'm always learning. And I think I might add just a little bit of white on that, just to sort of brighten that like that. How about this? Maybe, you know what? I'm going to do just a little bit of dark right there. And so like that flame sort of looks like it, see how that flame now kind of looks like it's really kind of like actually coming out of his mouth? Just by adding a little bit of a shadow there. Now my teeth, or the dragon's teeth, are in need of a little bit of, just a little bit of beefing up. There's that word I like. And might add just a hint of a tooth over there. So now for the background. You could do anything you wanted in the background. I'm going to whiten this up just a little bit more. And add, take my black and add, oh, that really worked. I'm going to add that darker line. See what that does? That really turns that dragon into something that's, he's kind of upset. Your dragon doesn't have to have this. You could make a really nice dragon that wasn't upset. But I like to sort of have some fun with these things. Look at that. What you can do with black or any other sort of dark color. And then I'm going to use my hand like, or my finger like this, and I'm going to have it kind of go the direction that that snout is going. And background. Well, I'm feeling pink today, so I'm going to do a little bit of pink like this. Kind of all around my dragon. It's fun to kind of have colors that sort of contrast each other. And so I'm going to have the pink here, like this. I was thinking about, after I did the pink, about maybe having it be a little bit darker at the top, just to be a little more interesting for my background. And again, notice I'm turning my paper because it makes things a little bit easier for me to layer in the colors. And missed a little bit there. And again, I'm going a little bit faster on this probably than you would be doing. And as you notice, we've got a lot of fast forwards on this too. So feel free to stop the video anytime. So I'm just going to kind of blend this like sort of, it's kind of a sky. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add just a little bit of white here. I have it dark at the top, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of this here, just to kind of lighten it up as it gets to the bottom of the page, like that. Add a little bit more, like this, just to kind of add some, just sort of add some interest. But again, you could do solid, you could do mountains in the background, you could do a volcano. The possibilities are absolutely endless. Now I'm going to come back in and just do a little bit of, I kind of call this sort of tipping, where I'm just kind of adding a little bit of color to kind of define things a little bit, like this. Now I do have my color in here, and like I say, there's our original, our study, and oh my goodness, I have gotten oil pastels everywhere, but I'm enjoying it. So that's kind of your basic sort of dragon. Now I'm going to have that smoke. I found some gray, and I'm going to just do pretty much what I did before. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to kind of brighten that a little bit. You don't have to have smoke with your dragon. And then I'm going to just kind of blend this a little bit as it's kind of coming out. A little bit heavier as it leaves the nostril, and then lighter as it kind of dissipates or evaporates in the air. Now, I'm not real happy with that. What's going on down there? I need a little bit more of a definition there, so I'm going to get darker color and kind of come in like this. There we go. Like that. And maybe a little darker color coming out of here. Like that. And I might define things. Come back in with the white here. A little bit. Like that. Maybe on that nostril there. Just to kind of make it a little bit more defined, but again, that is entirely up to you. You decide. Just added some dapples or a little bit of interest, just like some speckly colors. My puppy's barking. Hey! You better be quiet. Otherwise you don't get to be in this video. Can you see that, Luke? Maybe like this. Maybe those little dapples will get smaller. Like that. And just kind of having some fun. Sort of playing with what I've just done. Like that. I could add a little bit of brightness to the cheek like that. Maybe a little like this here. Just some things to kind of sort of brighten it up a little bit. And I'm gonna kind of brush that off like that. So there's kind of a basic dragon in oil pastel, and I'm sure yours is going to be more interesting than mine. I'm still, see, kind of the more I do this, I just keep thinking, well, how can I make this better? And so I'm thinking, well, if I add a little bit of darkness here, it's going to give it a little bit more 3D look to it. And so there is, I'm going to add a little bit of white over here. There's a dragon. Well, I've got my crayons here, this big 96 crayon box, and I'm just going to show you, if you didn't have any oil pastels, you could color in your pencil one with your crayons. And I'm just using basically just kind of a fun sort of even scribble to fill it in. And I'm going to use some of the same colors I did with that other one. And I'm going pretty fast, I know. But I want to make sure that you have a chance to sort of see this. And again, I'm going to turn the paper like this. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going kind of crosswise of the first layer of crayon just to fill it in. You could fill yours in lightly. You might have a better way to color in. But this kind of allows me to really cover a lot of area and layer that color in. But I can do a lot of the same things I can do with oil pastels. I probably can't blend it because it's a wax base, not an oil base. So we've got it like that. So I found some kind of similar colors to this, and I'm not going to probably finish this right now, but I just kind of want to get you guys started. I'm going to put my dapples in like this. You could do stripes on your dragon. You could do, and again, your dragon can be any color you want. Any color you want. I'm putting a little bit of shading in with this, like this. I'm going to come down over here. I've already got a lot of the lines in this that I did with the pencil. Now, crayons and pencil combines a lot better than oil pastel and pencils. For some reason, the oil pastel and pencil mix just doesn't work quite as well. And again, because this one's on white paper, I don't have to worry about coloring anything white. I've already got my smoke, and let's do a little fire here, like this. I don't know if you guys can hear my dogs in the background. They're having quite a good time. A little bit of a darker orange, like that. Ooh, that's really kind of fun. And again, I'm doing this kind of fast. Don't want to have you spend too much time watching the video. I'd rather have you be drawing. Let's see. I'll kind of do sort of what I did with that other one, just to show you that if you don't have certain materials, it's kind of always fun to make do. I think one day we might do a whole lesson using a ballpoint pen and paper, just to see what we can do with that. Now the difference, a little bit of difference with the crayons and the oil pastel is I can press really hard to darken it. And the oil pastel, you pretty much are just working with the color that you have, and you're going to need to add another color. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense there. I can do the background like I did that other one. Can do sort of a pink one like this. And again, notice I'm turning my paper, lighten like that. Darker here, press a little bit lighter. So I'm going to kind of get the same effect. And a lot of this is just working with your materials and practicing and figuring out what they can do. Brisket. So now I've already have my smoke in here. So, as you can see, I kind of roughly, I can go back over this too, but I just wanted to have you guys sort of get a start. So you can see that we did kind of the same dragon, one in oil pastel. Our first one we did in pencil. We could have left it black and white. And we did kind of the same effect with the color crayon, only it's a different way of layering things in and a different way to add color. And so you might actually want to try both. So I'm putting my color crayons back. It's always nice to put your tools back in their container, and that way when you go to draw again, you can find them. And so there. Same with my oil pastels. I put my oil pastels back in here. These are extra whites, by the way. So my oil pastels are back in their container. And again, we did a black and white dragon and colored it in with crayon if we didn't have oil pastels. And then of course the oil pastel dragon. Oh, you know what I forgot? Holy smoke. I forgot, I put my name on this one and I've got my name on the back here. But what's kind of fun is for me to go ahead and I'm going to put my name in the, sometimes people put it in the lower right hand corner, but I've got fire coming that direction. So I'm just going to do a little TR, my initials, down in that corner. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had fun. I hope that you have plenty of time to practice and maybe teach somebody else how to do one of these. I need to go get my puppy. I'm showing Brisket. What do you think? Well, now she's trying to eat it. She is getting really, really big, and but I just wanted to make sure that you got a chance to say hi, right? And so you have a good time with the drawings, and I look forward to seeing you again.